Well, hopefully this is the last video I have to make on this topic, or at least the specific race, but the appeal has been heard by the appeals panel in NASCAR and denied. Yes, the appeals of the penalties from earlier this week regarding the Martinsville race on Sunday, they were heard today, but at the end of the day, only one of those teams actually truly appealed. Yesterday, 2311 Racing announced that they would not be appealing after initially all three teams announced that they would appeal the penalties to them. Now, in case you need a reminder, after the alleged race manipulation on Sunday, Trackhouse, RCR, 2311, all the owners of those teams were fined $100,000 and docked 50 owners' points. The drivers were also fined $100,000 and docked 50 drivers' points. The crew chiefs, the spotters for each of those teams, are suspended for one race, which is Phoenix this week, the championship, the season finale, not just the regular season finale. And as I said, 2311, they released a statement yesterday saying that they would withdraw their appeal, saying, after internal deliberations, 2311 has decided not to appeal NASCAR's decision to penalize the number 23 team. We disagree with the penalty ruling and strongly believe we did not break any rules at Martinsville. It is our conclusion that it is in our best interests and those of our team members, partners, and fans to fully devote our personnel and resources this week towards the championship and not an appeal. Obviously, if they were indeed appealing this penalty, they'd have to get people together, go get the data, go get whatever they needed to potentially appeal, to have a strong case to win this appeal. And they felt with Tyler Reddick in the championship for, it's not worth pulling resources for. Just take the fine, take the points. They got a shot at the championship, their first championship this weekend. Well, then this afternoon, NASCAR announced that Trackhouse, that they lost their appeal, and that RCR ended up withdrawing their appeal as well, despite RCR announcing earlier in the week that they would. The penalty levied to Ross Chastain and the number one Trackhouse Racing team was upheld after the team's appeal was heard Thursday in front of the National Motorsports Appeals panel. Richard Childress Racing withdrew its appeal. It then goes through everyone who was suspended, everyone who got fined, all the penalties and whatnot. And then it says the appeals panel, consisting of Kelly Housby, Lynn St. James, and Steve York, upheld the penalties to the number one. We feel in the best interest of racing and to protect the integrity of the sport, it was appropriate to uphold and affirm NASCAR's decision with regard to the NASCAR Rule 4.4, attempting to manipulate the outcome of the race, the panel said in a statement. Trackhouse will not appeal to the final appeals officer. So yes, usually this is a sped up process because with the suspensions, and with it being the end of the season, really, they have to, rapid fire this process and do it in a week. This usually takes a couple of weeks. It takes, 1 or 2 weeks, depending on the case, to get the result of the first appeal. And then if you go to the final appeals officer, that can take another week or two, just depending on how long it takes once again. But with it being the season finale, with these decisions needing to be made sooner rather than later, they ultimately, rapid fire the process, as I said. And it's no real surprise to me that these penalties were upheld. It was pretty obvious. Once again, I thought they should have been more extreme, or if anything. But do we really got to talk about it more? Pretty blatant race manipulation. Trackhouse ends up being the only one to truly appeal. I think you have to pay to appeal or something. So maybe RCR in 2311, they were just like, it's not worth fighting. We're going to lose it anyways. Why waste the money? Even though they're getting fined. So maybe it is worth the money, but maybe they just didn't see a way to win it. At least 2311, they got the excuse of, we got a car in the championship. Let's not divert attention or effort to that when we can divert that attention to our championship. As for Chastain, as for Austin Dillon, they're still racing this weekend at Phoenix Raceway. However, they will be without their crew chiefs and their spotters, and they will be $100,000 less, or poorer, I guess. Is that really the right word in this situation? But anyways, thanks for watching this video. No more appeals after this for this particular penalty. Hopefully there's no penalty report next week. Please don't be. But we got the season finale at Phoenix this weekend. Tomorrow I will do my Cup Series Championship preview in the early afternoon. Tomorrow night we got the Truck Series Championship. Hopefully it's a fun one and not as bad as last year. Saturday night the Xfinity Championship. And then Sunday afternoon the Cup Championship race.